Hi there, I'm Tiffany, and today I'm going to show you how to do a sunburst design using my fractured technique and with the Derwent Academy pencils. I hope you enjoy it and have some fun. Right, okay, so this tutorial is going to show you how to make a very simple stylized sun with beams coming off it using my fractured style. Okay, so I've got quite a small piece of paper here because we want to do this in a fairly short space of time. Okay, so I'm going to just bring the sun off the corner of the page here. Now the next step to start breaking the areas up is to just draw almost like a sort of separation of each beam, like so. Okay, so we've got 4 separate areas there. Now the colours that I've chosen from the Academy range are acid yellow, cadmium yellow and orange. Okay, now I like to use my nibs quite long because you can get a nice flat side to it, or you can get a nice detailed point on the nib. So you can choose whatever you like, obviously, that you're happiest using. Right. So I've done a very simple line. It's quite Art Nouveau like, I suppose this is. So I'm going to first start doing the lightest area using the acid yellow. So I'm going to do fill in quite softly. So I don't want to have any obvious pencil marks. I want to keep the colour nice and flat and uniform. Hence I'm going sideways and actually positioning my hand like so. Right, now I've done the lightest area there. The next thing we're going to do is the darkest edge, because obviously the sun is a sphere, so we want to make it look like it's going round. Okay, I like to move my page around, get different angles on it. Like so, and then blend, and then I like to then go over it again, so I'm layering my colours. And it's a good idea to have a good quality paper when you're doing this. The one I'm using here is the new Derwent watercolour paper, which is lovely. It's quite thick. You can hear that. It's almost like cardboard, and that means that your paper can take quite a lot of wear to it. Right, my next style of the way I do the fractured is that each section is going to work in its own right, light to dark. So the light is nearest the light source, then going down towards the shadow. So in fact, before I do that, what we could do is just darken this little edge to crisp that up a bit. Okay, so that's my orange I'm using there. Right, going back to my cadmium yellow, what we need to do now is just start bringing the colour in here, bringing it down. So I'm going to go heavy at the top, and then as I go down I'm going to just make less strength on that pencil. So because the next thing I'm going to do is use my orange, and that's going to then overlap the cadmium yellow, so we're going to get a nice gradient of colour. So no heavy lines on each segment, just on the edge where that's going to show. Now you can work in different directions just as evenly as you possibly can. Keep that colour going. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to use my red as the darkest colour, being furthest away. So let's just put a bit more pressure on there. Bringing that up. So darkest there, heavy on the colour there, and then I'm slowly lifting off the weight on my pencil as I go up to get a nice gradient of colour. Okay, I'm going to bring up the red a little bit further up there. I'll tell you why in a minute. So next thing, I'm going to use my cadmium yellow. I'm going to bring this all the way down my next section, and that's how we're going to make sure that each segment is different on each line where the two join. Okay, if we just crisp that up a bit. Now you see when I did the outlines that I used one of the colours as opposed to a graphite. You could use a graphite pencil to do your outlines if you wanted to, but just make sure it's a light one, because obviously with coloured pencil you're going to get that graphite coming through, and you don't really want that. You want to keep it pure colour. You know, you don't want to make it look like you're colouring in, as it were. You want to do it without any lines showing. Okay. Right, so you can see the two separate areas here, completely different in colour. So then I'm going to start using the orange. And then go down heavy, heavy, heavy on the side, like so. Keeping again nice uniform colour. So I like to use my pencil quite flat. I just find that it has a really nice soft even colour coverage. Okay, and then going over again with the cadmium yellow just to blend it all in a bit, because these Derwent pencils, they're quite hard, so you can afford to just keep layering your colours until you get a nice blend. And now I'm using the red, and I'm going to use the red a little bit along that side as well, because that's where my next segment's going to start, and then I want to see that separation of colour. And then down here I'll use the deep red, because obviously that's furthest away from my light source, like so. Okay, and then on to the next segment. So you're treating each segment the same, making sure that all your colours nice and smooth and uniform, no hard lines anywhere apart from the join. Okay. So this is a very easy way of starting off, trying out this fractured style of mine, and from then on you can do other subjects. I'm just going to move my paper upside down. It's just working out in your head all the tonal values of your colours and making sure that everything is nice and smooth and not too heavy. You know, don't want any heavy marks. Okay, so I'm going to go over again with my cadmium yellow over the whole of that colour there. Again, going across like so. And if you see anything that's too heavy, too obvious a mark, just blend over it with your slightly darker colour and you can even everything out. Okay, so we've got so far. And any areas that you think you haven't got enough separation of light and dark on the join, you can just add to it. So say I'm going to add a little bit to the edge of that sun there, like so. Okay, and then we've got last section. I'm going to cover that all in yellow, and then towards the edge of the paper we're going to put some orange, and then There we go, a bit more red. Okay, so I hope you're now starting to understand the whole light and dark style of this fractured style of work, and I hope you can maybe have a go at some other subjects. But basically the rules of it are that each segment works in its own right with the light and the dark tones. There we go. Thanks for looking.